some of these songs, basically all Irish songs come down into one of three categories. It's either about getting drunk and celebrating life, being killed by the English, or killing the English. Sometimes all three, but we're going to start off with some cheerier ones, and we'll see how we get on. So we're going to start with Wild Rover, which I'm sure some of you know, and if not, you can find music there, and I'm going to crack on. Feel free to sing along at home. I won't hear you, but that doesn't matter. Pretend like we're having a good rip-roaring time. So here we go. I've been a wild rover for many a year, and I spent all my money on whiskey and beer, and now I'm returning with gold in great store. I never will play the wild rover no more, and it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more. I will play the wild rover, no, never, no more. I went to an alehouse I used to frequent, and I told the landlady my money was spent. I asked her for credit, she answered me, nay, such custom as yours I can have any day. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more. I will play the wild rover, no, never, no more. I pulled from my pocket a handful of gold, and on the round table it glittered and rolled. I said, I have whiskies and wines of the best, and the words that I told you were only in jest. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more. I will play the wild rover, no, never, no more. I'll none of your whiskies, nor fine Spanish wines, and the words that I told me meant no friend of mine. There's others more willing to open the door to a man coming home from a far distant shore. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more. I will play the wild rover, no, never, no more. I'll go home to my parents, confess what I've done, and I'll ask them to pardon the prodigal son. And if they forgive me as often before, I never will play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more. I will play the wild rover, no, never, no more. Thank you. I apologise for fluffing the words. That's going to happen a lot. So you're going to enjoy the next one because I heard it a lot from the KPA Kitchener today while I was practising. Unfortunately, this isn't going to be like the club version that we were getting treated to from there. So here we go. It's I tell my ma when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. I tell my ma when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. They pull my hair, they steal my comb, but that's alright till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she's the belle of Belfast City. She is cotton, 1, 2, 3, please won't you tell me who is she? Albert Mooney says he loves her and all the boys are fighting for her. Knock at the door and ring the bell, saying, oh true love, are you well? Out she comes as white as snow, rings on her fingers, bells on her toes. Old Johnny Barry says she'll lie if she doesn't get the fellow with the roving eye. Let the wind and the rain and the hail go high, and the snow come tumbling down from the sky. She's as nice as apple pie, and she'll get a fellow by and by. When she gets a lad of her own, she won't tell him how when she gets home. Let them all come as they will, it's Albert Mooney she loves still. I tell my ma when I get home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. They pull my hair, they steal my comb, but that's alright till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she's the belle of Belfast City. She has gotten 1, 2, 3, please won't you tell me who is she? Moving on to, there's a fourth category, which is being tricked by women who are clearly horrible and should never be trusted at all for anything. Which seems to be a bit of a trope. So we'll have one of those, shall we? This is Black Velvet Band. In a neat little town they call Belfast, apprentice to a trade I was bound, and many an hour of sweet happiness I spent in that neat little town, till a sad misfortune came on me, which caused me to stray from the land. Far from my friends and relations, betrayed by the black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds. I thought her the queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. I took a stroll down Broadway, meaning not long for to stay, when who should I meet but this pretty fair maid come a-tripping along the highway. She was both fair and handsome. Her neck, it was just like a swan's, and her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds. I thought her the queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. I took a stroll with this pretty fair maid, a gentleman passing us by. Well, I knew she meant the doing of him by the look in her roguish black eye. A gold watch she took from his pocket and placed it right into my hand. And the very first thing that I said, it was bad luck to the black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds. I thought her the queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. Before the judge and the jury, next morning I had to appear. Well, the judge, he says to me, young man, your case, it is proven clear. We'll give you 7 years servitude to be spent far away from this land, far away from my friends and relations, betrayed by the black velvet band. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds. I thought her the queen of the land, and her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. So come all you jolly young fellows, a warning take now by me. When you're out on the town, my lads, beware of the pretty Carlines. I'll feed you with strong drink, lads, till you are unable to stand. And the very first thing that you'll know, my lads, you've landed at Van Diemen's Land. Her eyes, they shone like diamonds. I thought her the queen of the land. And her hair hung over her shoulder, tied up with a black velvet band. Well, there you go. Don't trust a pretty Colleen with a black velvet band. Let's carry on with a rip-roaring, drinking, enjoying one. And before we get to the... I'm good, thanks, Jules. I'll have a little sip to keep my throat, you know. So, speaking of which, let's have all for me grog, my jolly, jolly grog. Well, it's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog. It's all for me beer and tobacco. Well, I spent all my tin on the lassie's drinking gin. Far across the western ocean I must wander. Where are me boots, me noggin boots? They're all gone for beer and tobacco. Well, the soles they got one out and the heels are kicked about, and the toes are looking out for better weather. Where is my shirt, my noggin shirt? It's all gone for beer and tobacco. Well, the sleeves I got one out and the collar's turned about, and the tail is looking out for better weather. Where is my wife, my noggin wife? She's all gone for beer and tobacco. Well, the front I got one out and her eyes are looking out, and I hope she's looking out for better weather. Well, he's sick in the head and he hasn't gone to bed since first he gave a show with his blunder. He's seen centipedes and snakes, still his head is full of aches, and we hope to take a path away up yonder. Well, it's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog. It's all for me beer and tobacco. Well, I spent all my tin on the lassie's drinking gin. Far across the western ocean I must wander. All right, it's now time in the evening when we move to killing the English songs. If anyone takes any personal offence at this, that's probably because your ancestor did something very bad, and that's not my fault. You should take a long, hard look at yourself. Otherwise, just enjoy the killing the English songs. At Bool of Vogue as the sun was setting on the bright May meadow of Shelmalere, a rebel hand set the heather blazing and brought the neighbours from far and near. Then Father Murphy from old Keele come hackbird up the rock with a warlike cry. Arm, arm, he cried, for I've come to lead you for Ireland's freedom. We'll fight or die. He led us on against the coming soldiers, the cowardly yeomen we put to fight. 'Twas at the Harrow the boys of Wexford showed Berkey's regiments how men could fight. Look out for hirelings, King George of England, search every kingdom where breathes a slave. For Father Murphy from County Wexford sweeps o'er the land like a mighty wave. At Vinegar Hill are the Blairs and Slaney, our heroes vainly stood back to back. And the Yos at Tullow took Father Murphy and burned his body upon the rack. God grant you glory, brave Father Murphy, and open heaven to all your men. The cause that called you may come tomorrow in another fight for the green again. Hopefully not too many English people died in the making of that song. So let's move on to women jilting men and men being really drunk and annoyed about it, which is another kind of sub-trope of the women are evil and let's get drunk. I once loved a lass, and I loved her so well, that I hated all others who spoke of her ill. And now she's rewarded me well for my love. She has gone to be wed to another. When I saw my love go through the church door with bride and bridesmaidens, they made a fine show. And I followed them on with my heart full of woe, for now she is wed to another. When I saw my love go sit down to dine, I sat down beside her, I poured out the wine, and I drank to the last that should have been mine, for now she is wed to another. The men of yon forest, they ask it of me, how many strawberries grow in the salt sea. And I ask of them back with a tear in my eye, how many ships sail in the forest. So dig me a grave and dig it so deep and cover it over with flowers so sweet, and I'll turn in for to take a long sleep, and maybe in time I'll forget her. So they dug him a grave, and they dug it so deep, and they covered it over with flowers so sweet, and he turned in for to take a long sleep, and maybe by now he's forgotten. Who knows? Ooh, we have a trope I've missed, which is women are nice, and I'm going to perv on them a bit. Which clearly doesn't fit into my previous categories, but I think that's a fair summing up of the star of the County Down, right? Irish people, Maria, Barry, yeah? Near Bunbridge town in the County Down, one morning in early July, down a boring green came a sweet Colleen, and just smiled as she passed me by. She looked so sweet from her 2 white feet to the sheen of her nut brown hair. Such a coaxing elf, I do shake myself to make sure I was standing there. From Bantry Bay to Derry Quay, from Galway to Dublin town, there's no maid I've seen like that sweet Colleen that I met in the County Down. As she onward sped, I shook my head, and I gazed with a feeling rare And I says I, to a passerby, who's the maid with the nut brown hair. He smiled at me, and with pride says he, that's the gem of Ireland's crown. She's young Rosie McCann, from the banks of the Bann, and the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay to Derry Quay, from Galway to Dublin town. There's no maid I've seen like that sweet Colleen that I met in the county down. She'd a soft brown eye and a look so sly, and a smile like a rose in June. And you hung on each note from her lily white throat as she'd lilted an Irish tune. At the pattern dance you were held in a trance as she tripped to a reel or a jig. And when she'd roll, she'd coax upon my soul a spud from an angry pig. From Bantry Bay to Derry Quay, from Galway to Dublin town. There's no maid I've seen like that sweet Colleen that I met in the county down. Oh, I've travelled a bit, but I never was hit since my roving career began. But fair and square I surrendered there to the charms of young Rose McCann. With a heart to let and no tenant yet did I meet with a shawl or a gown. But in she went and I asked no rent from the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay to Derry Quay, from Galway to Dublin town. There's no maid I've seen like the sweet Colleen that I met in the county down. At the harvest fair I'll surely be there, and I'll dress in my Sunday clothes. And I'll try sheep's eyes and deludering lies on the heart of the nut brown rose. No pipe I'll smoke, no horse or yoke, with rust my plough turns brown. Till a smiling bride by my own far side sits the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay to Derry Quay, from Galway to Dublin town. There's no maid I've seen like the sweet Colleen that I met in the county down. Ooh, a bit tired now. So I'm under instructions to do about half an hour, and then the Irish...
I don't know where they are, so...
That's fine. So I've got like 3 more, and then I'll end this section with a bit of a pianistic number, and then I'll come back and do another half an hour in a bit. But if they're not here at all, then I'll just carry on.
Yeah, you never know.
We've got another Killing the English, I think. Not specifically killing the English, just preparing for the inevitable killing of the English.
But Barry's loving the killing.
I know, well, that's fine. It's fine. It's not literally us. I mean, I'm Welsh, half English, so it's fine. You're only killing half of me, Barry. Right, so this is Down by the Glenside, which you may or may not know. I'd never heard of it before I started preparing these, so new one to me. 'Twas down by the glenside I met an old woman, a-plucking young nettles. She ne'er saw me coming, and I listened a while to the song she was humming. Glory ho, to the boat Fenian men. 'Tis 50 long years since I saw the moon beaming on strong manly forms, on eyes with hope gleaming, and I see them again, though in all my sad dreaming. Glory ho, to the boat Fenian man. When I was a young girl, the marching and drilling awoke in the glenside. Sounds awesome and thrilling. They loved dear old Ireland. To die they were willing. Glory ho, to the boat Fenian man. Some died by the wayside, some died near a stranger, and wise men have told us their cause was a failure. But they fought for old Ireland, and they never feared danger. Glory ho, to the boat Fenian man. I passed on my way, God be praised that I met her, be life long or short. Sure I'll never forget her. We may have brave men, but we'll never have better. Oh, Barry liked that one. It was a hit for Barrytown. I know this is a favourite of Maria's. We've got Spansel Hill. Oh, look, she's excited. Last night as I lay dreaming of the pleasant days gone by, my mind being bent on rambling to Ireland I did fly. I stepped aboard a vision and sailed out with a will, till I gladly came to anchor at the spot in Cancel Hill, crossing Cancel Hill. Enchanted by the novelty, delighted by the scenes, where in my early childhood I oftentimes had been. I thought I heard a murmur, I think I hear it still. It's the little stream of water at the cross of Spansel Hill. And to amuse my fancy, I lay upon the ground, where all my school companions in crowds assembled round. Some have grown to manhood, while more their graves to fill. Oh, I thought we were all young again at the cross of Spansel Hill. I went into my old home, as every stone can tell. The old boreen was just the same, the apple tree or the well. I missed my sister Ellen, my brother's Pat and Bill. Sure, I only met me strangers at my home in Spansel Hill. I called to see my neighbours, to hear what they might say. The old were getting feeble and the young were turning grey. I met with Taylor Quigley, he's as brave as ever still. Sure, he always made my breeches when I lived in Spansel Hill. I paid a flying visit to my first and only love. She's as pure as any lily and as gentle as a dove. She threw her arms around me, saying, Mike, I love you still. She is Mac, the ranger's daughter, and the pride of Spansel Hill. I thought I stooped to kiss her, as I did in days gone by. She says, Mike, you're only joking, as you often were before. The cock crew in the rooster again, it crew both loud and shrill. I awoke in California, far, far from Spansel Hill. But when my vision faded, the tears came to my eyes, in hope to see that dear old spot someday before I die. May the joyous King of Angels his choicest blessings spill on that glorious spot of nature, the cross of Spansel Hill. Absolutely wasn't distracted by giggling Jules and the other side of the room. It's fine. Right, so the next one is debatably Irish or debatably English. It's very hard to tell with a lot of folk songs. Also, with a lot of folk songs, especially ones that have been around Ireland and England and everywhere, there's loads of versions of them, and so there's no sort of obvious provenance of anything. I recently learned, I was looking up stuff about Luke Kelly, the famous Irish singer, and he moved to England when he was young. He went to Newcastle upon Tyne, and it was there he really got into his singing folk music at a pub called The Bridge, right on the edge of the Tyne, which is a great pub. And I learned then, he learned a lot of songs that were Northeast English as well as ones that the Irish community there had sung. So a lot of pollination trends, all of this. So this one is, I don't know, it's a good song anyway. So we'll see. It's Botany Bay. Farewell to my friends and my homeland. Fair mannets I roamed on Donegal. Farewell to the green fields of Ireland. For today I am leaving you all. Singing to rely, Addy. Singing to rely, singing to rely, Addy. For we're bound for Botany Bay. There's the captain as is our commander. There's the boatswain and all the ship's crew. There's the first and the second class passengers. Knows what we poor convicts go through. Singing to rely, Addy. Singing to rely, singing to rely, Addy. And we're bound for Botany Bay. Tain't leaving old Ireland we cares about. Tain't cause we misspells what we knows, but because we are light-fingered gentry, hops around with a log on our toes. Singing to rely, Addy. Singing to rely, singing to rely, Addy. And we're bound for Botany Bay. For 7 long years I'll be staying here. For 7 long years and a day. Just for meeting a bloke down an alley. And for taking his ticker away. Singing to rely, Addy. Singing to rely, singing to rely, Addy. And we're bound for Botany Bay. Oh, had I the wings of a turtle dove, I'd soar on my pinions so high, slap bang in the arms of my true love, and in her sweet presence I'd die. Singing to rely, Addy. Singing to rely, singing to rely, Addy. And we're bound for Botany Bay. Oh, all my young dukies and duchesses, take warning by what I've to say. Mind all that you own as you touches, or you'll find us in Botany Bay. Singing to rely, Addy. Singing to rely, singing to rely, Addy. And we're bound for Botany Bay. And as promised, I'll play out this section before... Oh, look, the Keele Irish Dance Society is here. Hello. I'll play us out with a nice non-vocal number to give myself a little bit of a break. And I'll hand over to the Keele Irish Dance Society afterwards. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Cal.
So, who's up for a bit of Molly Malone? Good? I can't hear you, so I'll take that as a yes. In Dublin's fair city, the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone. She wheels her wheelbarrow through streets wide and narrow, singing cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, singing cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. He was a fishmonger, and sure it's no wonder, for so was her father and mother before. And they both wheeled their barrows through streets wide and narrow, singing cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, singing cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She died of a fever and no one could save her, and that was the end of sweet Molly Malone. Now her ghost wheels her barrow through streets wide and narrow, singing cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, singing cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She didn't die of COVID. That I know of. I mean, who knows? Right, so, Rising of the Moon, another Killing the English song. Barry, you ready for it? Yeah, that's a thumbs up. Good. Oh, then tell me, Sean O'Farrell, tell me why you hurry so. Hush me, buckle, hush and listen, and his cheeks were all aglow. I bear orders from the captain, get you ready quick and soon. For the pikes must be together by the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. For the pikes must be together by the rising of the moon. Oh, then tell me, Sean O'Farrell, where the gathering is to be. In the old spot by the river, right well known to you and me. One more word for signal token, whistle up the marching tune. With your pikes upon your shoulders, by the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. With the pikes apart together, by the rising of the moon. Out of many a mud wall cabin, eyes were watching through the night. Many a manly heart was throbbing for the coming morning light. Murmurs run along the valley like the banshee's lonely croon. And 1,000 pikes were flashing by the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. For the pikes must be together by the rising of the moon. And we'll swiftly follow that one with the flip side. Skibbereen. I don't know if you know that one. It's cheery. Oh, Father dear, I often hear you speak of Erin's Isle. Her lofty scenes, her valleys green, her mountains rude and wild. They say it is a lovely land in which a prince may dwell. Oh, why did you abandon her? The reason to me tell. Oh, son, I loved my native land with energy and pride. Till a blight came on my crops, my sheep and cattle died. My rent and taxes were too high, I could not them redeem. And that's the cruel reason that I left out Skibbereen. Oh, well, I do remember the bleak December day. The landlord and the sheriff came to drive us all away. They set my roof on fire with cursed English spleen. And that's another reason that I left old Skibbereen. Your mother too, God rest her soul, she fell on snowy ground. She fainted in her overseeing desolation around. She never rose but passed away from life to mortal dream, and found a quiet grave, my boy, in dear old Skibbereen. And you were only 2 years old, and feeble was your frame. I could not leave you with my friends, you bore your father's name. I wrapped you in a coffin o'er at the dead of night, unseen, and heaved a sigh, and bade goodbye to dear old Skibbereen. Oh, Father dear, the day may come when in answer to the call, each Irishman with feeding stern may rally one and all. I'll be the man who leads the van beneath the flag of green, when loud and high we'll raise the cry, remember Skibbereen. Yeah, cheery stuff. Right, let's carry on with the cheery stuff, shall we? It only gets cheerier from now on. Foggy Dew. Not J-E-W, that'd be weird. As down a glen one Easter morn to a city fair rode I, there on lines of marching men in squadrons passed me by. No pipe did hum, no battle drum did sound its royal tattoo, but the Angelus bell of the Liffey swell rang out in the foggy dew. Right proudly high over Dublin town they hung out their flag of war. 'Twas better to die beneath the Irish sky than at Suvler or Sudel Bar. And from the plains of Royal Meath strong men came hurrying through, while Britannia's Huns and their long-range guns sailed out in the foggy dew. Oh, the night fell black and the rifles' crack made perfidious Albion reel. In the leaden rain 7 tongues of flame did shine out the line of steel. By each shining blade a prayer was said, that to Ireland's sons be true. But when morning broke still the war flag shook out its folds in the foggy dew. 'Twas England bade a wild geese go, that small nations might be free. Their lonely graves by Suvler's waves are the fringe of the great North Sea. Oh, had they died by Pierce's side, or had fought at Calbrew, their graves we'd keep where the Fenians sleep, neath the shroud of the foggy dew. Oh, the bravest fell of the requiem bell sang mournfully and clear, for those that died that Easter tide in the springing of the year. While the world did gaze in deep amaze at those fearless men but few, who bore the fight that freedom's light may shine through the foggy dew. As back through the glen I rode again, and my heart with grief was tore, for I parted then with valiant men whom I never see no more. But to and fro in my dreams I go, and I kneel and I pray for you, for slavery fled of the glorious dead when you fell in the foggy dew. Definitely kept the words together there. Apologies. Yeah, so swiftly on the heel of that, let's do the wearing of the green, which definitely doesn't involve hanging people for things. Oh, Paddy dear, now did you hear the news that's going round? The shamrock is by law forbid to grow on Irish ground. No more St. Patrick's Day will keep as colours can be seen, for there's a cruel law against the wearing of the green. I met with Napatani and he took me by the hand, and he said, how's poor old Ireland and how does she stand? She's the most distressful country that ever yet was seen, for they're hanging men and women for the wearing of the green. And if the colour we must wear is England's cruel red, let it remind us of the blood that Ireland has shed. Then pull the shamrock from your hat and throw it on the sod, and never fear we'll take root there, though underfoot it's trod. When the law can stop the blades of grass from growing where they grow, when the leaves in summertime their colours dare not show, then I will change the colour I wear in my cabine. Till that day, please God, I'll stick to the wearing of the green. Nice short, cheery one. Okay, coming towards the last home straight now. Possibly. It's more than I thought, actually. This one is the Bard of Armagh, Felin Brady. Oh, list to the lay of a poor Irish harper, and scorn not the strains of his old withered hand, but remember those fingers, they once could move sharper. They sang to the praise of a dear native land. It was long before the shamrock, dear Ireland's lovely emblem, was crushed in its beauty by the Saxon lion's paw. And all the pretty colleens around me would gather, call me their born Felin Brady, the Bard of Armagh. How I love to muse on the days of my boyhood, though 83 years have fled by since then. Still it gives sweet reflection, as every long joy should, for the merry-hearted boys make the best of old men. In truth I have wandered this wild world over, yet Ireland's a home and a dwelling for me. And oh, let the turf that my old bowl shall cover be cut from the land that is trod by the free. And when Sergeant Death in his cold arms doth embrace me and lulls me to sleep without airing a bra, by the side of my Kathleen, my dear bride, oh place me, then forget Felin Brady, the Bard of Armagh. Right. So that was a brief, cheery interlude, just to make sure we didn't all just want to end it all. But that's over now, so let's, wind that shakes the barley. I sat within a valley green, I sat there with my true love. My sad heart strove to choose between the old love and the new love. The old for her, the new that made me think of Ireland daily, while soft the wind blew down the glade and shook the golden barley. 'Twas hard the woeful words to frame, to break the ties that bound us. 'Twas harder still to bear the shame of foreign chains around us. And so I said, the mountain glen I'll seek next morning early, and join the brave united men, while soft winds shook the barley. While sad I kissed away her tears, my fond arms round her flinging, The foeman's shot burst on our ears from out the wildwood ringing. A bullet pierced my true love's side, and life's young spring so early, and on my breast in blood she died, while soft winds shook the barley. I bore her to the wildwood's green, and many a summer's blossom I placed with branches thick and green above her gold-stained bosom. I wept and kissed her pale, pale cheek, then rushed o'er vale and valley, my vengeance on the foe to wreak, while soft winds shook the barley. But blood for blood without remorse I have taken at Ulad's hollow, and placed my true love's clay-cold corpse where I full soon will follow. And round her grave I wander drear, noon, night, and morning early, with breaking heart, whene'er I hear the wind that shakes the barley. All right, I think we need to lift the mood a little bit, because... Right. St. Patrick was a gentleman. I have never encountered this song in anything that purports to actually be Irish folk music, but I have found it in like a Victorian like book of sing-along songs, and it's just brilliant, so I included it anyway. So there you go. And I have to admit, I am very bad at making sure I get the words right, so wish me luck. Oh, St. Patrick was a gentleman, he came from decent people. He built a church in Dublin town and on it put a steeple. His father was a Gallagher, his mother was a Brady. His aunt was an O'Shaughnessy, his uncle was a Grady. Oh, success attends St. Patrick's fist, for he's a saint so clever. He gave the snakes and toads a twist and banished them forever. The Wicklow hills are very high, and so's the hill of Halsa. But there's a hill much bigger still, much bigger than the Mosa. 'Twas on the top of this high hill St. Patrick preached his sermon that drove the frogs into the bogs and banished all the varmint. So success attends St. Patrick's fist, for he's a saint so clever. He gave the snakes and toads a twist and banished them forever. There's not a mile in Ireland's our dirty varmint busters, but there he put his deer for foot and murdered them in clusters. The toads went pop, the frogs went hop, stop, dash into the water. The snakes committed suicide to save themselves from slaughter. So success attends St. Patrick's fist, he's a saint so clever. He gave the snakes and toads a twist and banished them forever. 900,000 reptiles blue he charmed with sweet discourses, and dined on them at Killaloe in soups and second courses, where blind ones crawling in the grass disgusted all the nation. He gave them rise which opened their eyes to a sense of the situation. So success attends St. Patrick's fist, for he's a saint so clever. He gave the snakes and toads a twist and banished them forever. Shoot it fast. St. Patrick was a gentleman who came from decent people. He built a church in Dublin town and on it put a steeple. His father was a Gallagher, his mother was a Brady. His aunt was an O'Shaughnessy, his uncle was a Grady. So success attends St. Success attends St. Patrick's fist, for he's a saint so clever. He gave the snakes and toads a twist and banished them forever. Totally almost did that. Let's pretend that middle bit didn't happen. All right. So what I've clearly done is put all the ones that I'm going to mess up right at the end when I'm on the home straight, right? So, yeah, so hopefully you're all drunk, but clearly I can see you're not. So get drunk so I can do the next song. Speaking of which, bit of vocal lubrication. So, yeah, wish me luck on this one as well. Poor Paddy works on the railway. Again, there's loads of different versions of this. I've amalgamated like 3 different songs into one to make something that I enjoy because I can. So I did. Okay. In 1841, my corduroy breeches I put on, my corduroy breeches I put on to walk upon the railway. Filling my mori, hey, I'm weary of the railway. Filling my mori, hey, but Paddy works on the railway. In 1842, In 1842, I didn't know what I should do. Work upon the railway. Filling my mori, hey, I'm weary of the railway. Filling my mori, hey, but Paddy works on the railway. In 1843, I sail away across the sea to walk upon the railway. Filling my mori, hey, I'm weary of the railway. Filling my mori, hey, but Paddy works on the railway. In 1834, I landed at Columbia Shore, to work upon the railway. Filling my mori, hey, weary of the railway. Filling my mori, hey, but Paddy works on the railway. What are we up to, 5? In 1845, when Daniel O'Connor was still alive, to work upon the railway. Filling my mori, hey, weary of the railway. Filling my mori, hey, Paddy works on the railway. 6, yeah. In 1846, I made my trade to carrying bricks. To work upon the railway. Filling my mori, hey, weary of the railway. Filling my mori, hey, but Paddy works on the railway. Last one. In 1847, Paddy was thinking of going to heaven. To work upon the railway. Filling my mori, hey, weary of the railway. Filling my mori, hey, but Paddy works on the railway. Whew. That one's hard work, but worth it. Oh, yeah, no, I've got to dip it down again before the final bit, really, because why not? So, I have been led to believe that there is not a funeral in Ireland that does not contain this at some point, the parting glass. Is that correct, Barry? I remember you once saying that you've never been to a funeral in Ireland where this wasn't played, so, yeah. Oh, all the money I have ever had, I have spent it on good company. And all the harm I have ever done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Oh, all the comrades I've ever had, they are sorry for my going away. And all the sweethearts ere I had, they wished me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot, I gently rise and I softly call that I should go and you should not. Good night and joy be with you all. If I had money enough to spend and leisure time to sit a while, there is a fair maid in this town that sorely has my heart beguiled. Her rosy cheeks and ruby lips, I own she has my heart in thrall. Then fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Now you'd think, given that ends with good night, joy to you all, that will be the end. But wait, there's more. The next song is... so I don't know if you all know the song Little Brown Jug. It's a famous song, been used, turned into like a jazz rendition quite famously. It comes from, like its ancestor is a song called Krushkin Lawn, right? Krushkin Lawn, which basically is the same principle. It's all about making sure your little brown jug is filled so you can get smashed. So let's have that one. Let the farmer praise his hounds. Let the huntsman praise his hounds. Grounds then hounds. And the shepherd his sweet-scented lawn. But I'm a blessed and they spend each happy night and day with my charming little Krushkin Lon. Oh, my charming little Krushkin Lon. Grom cream Krushkin shalant galma vornin grom cream Krushkin lan, oh, grom cream Krushkin lan. Immortal and divine, oh great Bacchus god of wine, create me by adoption your own son, in hopes that you'll comply, that my glass will never run dry. Oh my darling little Krushkin lan, oh my darling little Krushkin lan. Grama cream Krushkin shalant galma vornin groma cream Krushkin lan, oh, grama cream Krushkin lan. And when grim death appears in a few but happy years, and says, oh, won't you come along with me? I'll say, begone you knave, fucking Bacchus gave me leave to take another Krushkin lun, or to take another Krushkin lun. Grama cream Krushkin shalant galma vornin groma cream Krushkin lan, oh, grama cream Krushkin lan. Then fill your glasses high. Let's not part with lips so dry. Though the lark, it now proclaims it is the dawn. And since we can't remain making maybe shortly meet again to fill another Krushkin lun, oh, to fill another Krushkin lun. Grama cream Krushkin shalant galma vornin grama cream Krushkin lun, oh, grama cream Krushkin lun. So there you go. Fill another Krushkin lawn. I don't know, Barry. You'll have to correct me in the morning or something. And to see us out, I thought I'd finish with a song that is in no way an Irish folk song because it's written by Tom Lehrer, the famous mathematician and comedy musician. I don't know. If you don't know Tom Lehrer, go and look up Tom Lehrer. He's hilarious and brilliant. And he wrote something called The Irish Ballad, which sounds about as genuine as anything to me. So that's what I'm going to end a St. Patrick's Day gig with, something that's not an Irish song. But Lear's kind of an Irish name, so it's probably fine. It's fine, right? It's fine. About a maid I'll sing a song, some rickety-tickety-tin. About a maid I'll sing a song who didn't have a family long. Not only did she do them wrong, she did every one of them in. She did every one of them in. One morning in a fit of pique, ring rickety-tickety-tin. One morning in a fit of pique, she drowned her father in the creek. The water tasted bad for a week, and we had to make do with the gin. We had to make do with the gin. Her mother she could never stand, sing rickety-tickety-tin. Her mother she could never stand, and so a cyanide soup she planned. And mother died with a spoon in her hand, and her face in a hideous grin. Her face in a hideous grin. She set her sister's hair on fire, sing rickety-tickety-tin. She set her sister's hair on fire, and as the smoke and the flames grew high, she danced around the funeral pyre, playing the violin, playing the violin. She weighed her brother down with stones, sang rickety-tickety-tin. She weighed her brother down with stones and sent him off to Davy Jones. All they ever found was some bones and occasional pieces of skin, occasional pieces of skin. One One day when she had nothing to do, sing rickety-tickety-tin. One day when she had nothing to do, she cut her baby brother in two and served him up with an Irish stew. And invited the neighbours in, invited the neighbours in. And when at last the police came by, sing rickety-tickety-tin. And when at last the police came by, her little prank she did not deny. To do so she would have had to lie. And lying she knew was a sin, and lying she knew was a sin. My tragic tale I won't prolong, sing rickety-tickety-tin. My tragic tale I won't prolong, and if you did not enjoy my song, you've only yourself to blame if it's too long. You should never have let me begin, should never have let me begin. Thank you very much. That's me done.
Is that you done?
Yeah. Off. I can do one again.
Yeah, we want one again, don't we?
Don't make it a hard one.
Yeah.
Danny boy. Oh, Danny boy. Yeah, but I don't have the words for that because I didn't want to be controversial. More, Uncle. What? Yeah, Danny. Okay, but I haven't got this. Do you want to just play it and you guys get to sing? I'll just play. Okay, deal?
I think you'll be fine, Kelsey.
What?
I just think just wing it.
No, I don't know. I don't know. Thank you very much.